Oh, there you are, YouTube. Do. Subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. But if you did, I'd greatly appreciate it. Hey, it is time to head to our Halloween Advent calendar. We are counting down the days to Halloween by watching a movie, a horror film, some sort of like fall film, horror adjacent movie until we get to Halloween. So let's head to the Advent calendar to see what we're watching today. Okay, October 21. What are we watching?
My stuff.
What do you got? It is. What is it?
Get it.
It
Buffy.
is. What does it say?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, yeah. This will be a first time watch for you. I watched it when I was a kid all the time.
Whoa.
Hey.
Oh, no, it's bent. Buffy's a great one. I love this movie. My aunt, she's 6 years older than me. She was the one who introduced me to it. So I was watching this a lot as a kid. I never owned it though. We didn't have it on VHS, but I'm guessing my aunt probably did, or it was just like a frequent rental because I'm very familiar with the movie. Would also catch it on movie channels when it was playing, and I never got into the show. I watched maybe the first few episodes, but that was about as far as it went. It was also like so in the culture that you kind of knew what was going on, like you knew when characters were added and things like that. So it was like I was aware of it, but I never watched it. It was also seemed a little too serious, where what I was used to was the movie, which had a lot more comedy in it. And Joss Whedon wrote it, like this was like his concept, and he was in charge of the show. And I guess this movie is not at all like his vision for this story, and maybe it like upset him or something, and then that's where we get the show, which is much closer to what he was hoping for. But again, I prefer the movie. That's what I grew up on, but I also love the humor in it. My aunt, she was also a big Luke Perry fan. She was really into 90210, so she had like a major crush on him, and so that was a big part of why we were watching it all the time. I recognized even at that young of an age, Kristy Swanson, just such a beautiful, absolutely beautiful person, and she like played like a high school student for like 3 different decades, right? Because she's in like Pretty in Pink. She's in like Ferris Bueller and like other 80s movies, and then here she is in the 90s playing a high school student, and she's in like Dude, Where's My Car also. I can't remember. Are they in college? Maybe they're in college in that one. I think they're in high school. I honestly can't remember, but that's like that's the 2000s. So like in the 80s and then the 90s and then the 2000s, she's playing a high school student, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, really like her, and again, I was very young, but it was like I knew she was beautiful. I was having a crush on her, and also I think this was the first time. I could be wrong on this, but I think this is the first time like Paul Rubens was someone other than Pee Wee Herman to me. I'm trying to think if there were other examples, but the way I remember it was like I didn't fully get what was going on, because I recognized Pee-wee under all of that hair and makeup and teeth, but it wasn't him. And like I think it was, my mind was like trying to shift the way I was thinking about him, right? Like I think Pee Wee Herman was a person to me, and why is he playing this vampire, right? I don't think I was fully grasping that this was an actor who was playing both, was playing Pee Wee Herman, who was also playing this vampire. But I don't know. It's just, it's obviously Pee Wee Herman's a character, but I don't know. I just feel like that was the first time I saw him not as Pee Wee Herman, that I remember anyway. So I'm sure that took some I don't know. It was just like confusing for me maybe as a kid or something like that. just because I grew up on Pee Wee, so I knew him as Pee Wee Herman. Also, I think this might have been the first time I ever saw David Arquette. He's in the film as well, and he was one of my favorite parts as a kid, and a big standout for me. And oddly, watching it this time, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, watching it this time, I saw how like little he was in the film. He wasn't in the film very much, and that really surprised me because he was who I sort of like latched onto. I think maybe because I just thought he was extra funny, and he was kind of wild and things like that, and I I don't know, clinged on to that character and was like, I like this guy. So watching it this time, I was like, wow, he's like barely in it. Where in my head he had such a strong presence, but he does because of his charisma, but not because of screen time. So that was kind of cool to see. Donald Sutherland, of course, he's doing well. One thing here, actually, I remember when watching the movie today, I was like, okay, I got to mention this. So still love Kristy Swanson, great, great, great. But if you watch the opening credits when she's cheerleading, like, just like look at them all. She's sorry, Kristy, she's not a good cheerleader. Like, I don't know anything about cheerleading, but I feel like when I'm watching them all, like I wonder if everyone else around her was a cheerleader. And, you know, she's an actor acting like a cheerleader because everyone else has you know, this, as they're cheering, like the big smile, and she's just kind of like a small smile. And she's like a little late on things, doesn't jump as high as everyone else. It's just like her, you know, like I feel like cheerleaders when they're moving, it's like quick stops and things like that. And everybody's kind of doing that, but she's, you know, kind of like doing stuff like this. And it was just kind of like, oh, she's not a good cheerleader. But I think she was probably by professionals, you know, surrounded by professionals. That's going to stand out. But I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. I feel bad now for saying it. But I did notice that when I was watching the movie. And also, like, you know, when she does all those acrobatic flips and things like that, as a kid, you don't really, in some movies you do, but I never really caught that was like a stunt double doing those flips and everything for her. But it's just like so obvious now because it's like, you know, like wide shot. let's have this stunt double do all of these flips and stunts and things, and then when she lands, get the close up on her face and her breathing like that. So that was kind of funny to catch this time around. Also, afterwards, I was looking at IMDb. Well, and I was just noticing in the movie, like Ben Affleck's in the movie, and I didn't remember him in it because we didn't know who he was at that time. But also I read that Thomas Jane is in the movie, and then I was like, what? I don't remember him in it. So I went back and found him in it, and he was like this mechanic. And I remember looking at this mechanic in the movie, and never once did I catch it as Thomas Jane. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. You know, I remember watching that scene clearly and looking specifically at that mechanic, and never once did I see that was Thomas Jane. And also, Seth Green is in it also. So that first vampire, the jock, the basketball player, that gets turned early on in the movie, he's bitten by Seth Green. And guess he was uncredited. That's what it said on IMDb. But that's interesting because, like I said, I didn't watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer the show, but I, you know, was just like, you're just sort of aware of it because it was such a big deal in pop culture. And I knew that Seth Green eventually joined that show. So he actually exists in both, or his character anyway. Not his character, sorry, not his character. The actor is in both the movie and the show. He's a vampire in the movie, and he's like a werewolf or something in the show. So that's kind of cool that he got to participate in both. Let's see. Hilary Swank, I mean, I knew, you know, she was in it. That was kind of early on. When she kind of became a thing, I was like, that's that girl from Buffy. Who else? I think there was more. Was that it? I don't know. It was cool to return to it and then like see all of these people, and then, you know, again, I was just scrolling through IMDb and then seeing all these other people who were in it that I didn't catch. I looked through IMDb afterwards and was like, wow, had no clue Thomas Jane was there. Had no clue Seth Green was there. So that was fun. But have you seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer? I really love it. Again, I like it more than the show, but I didn't watch very much of the show. So maybe it's better. Maybe the show is better. But what I was looking for was in this movie, and I love it. Still really enjoyed it to this day. But have you seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I guess I was saying that right. For some reason I thought I was stumbling on my words, but I wasn't. Maybe I was. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think of it? Do you like the movie more? Or do you like the show more? I'm curious to know the people who watched the show all the way through and have seen the movie. I'd love to know your opinions between the two. Which one do you like more? Let me know in the comments below, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.